Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever had as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call and find out what's for dinner. 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right. And a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Of course, everybody tuning in on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, and WOW Cable Television affiliates in select markets, plus everybody else watching on Hotel TV, and everybody listening in right now on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Folks, make sure you check that out. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Boy, that's good stuff. Post your favorite recipes, your favorite restaurants. Participate with the group. Have some fun. It's all free. I'm the administrator. Let's have some fun. Let's have some laughs. All right. Now, we just saw something posted by the Associated Press that was of interest to the Sports Circus and also all of our friends. It just happens that LIV Golf, so you know that competitor to the whole PGA thing, LIV Golf is going to hire a friend of the Sports Circus and a friend of one of ours, and that would be Scott O'Neill. All right, Scott. Yes! So he's actually supposed to replace Greg Norman, as the report reads. I hope that's the case. So the AP had said LIV Golf is hiring Scott O'Neill, former CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils, to replace Greg Norman in running the Saudi-backed rival league about to enter its fourth season. And that was reported by The Athletic, the Associated Press, and everybody else, and the Sports Circus as well. So Sports Business Journal reported last month that the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia planned to shift Norman into a new position. Norman has been CEO since LIV launched back in 2022. Now, The Athletic cited an anonymous source briefed on the matter, saying that O'Neill, who currently is the CEO of Merlin Entertainments, would be hired. Now, in case you don't know, Merlin Entertainments, with holdings that include Legoland and the Peppa Pig theme park in Dallas, they had announced that O'Neill was leaving for another opportunity. And apparently this might be it. Now, Scott took over as the PGA Tour Enterprise is negotiating with PIF over becoming a minority investor and a critical deal in helping to repair a golf landscape that has been divided since Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, and Brooks Koepka were among top players who left the PGA for the new league that offered team competition, signing bonuses, and $20 million purses. And of course, show me the money! That's a big part of it, kids. But nonetheless, the PGA Tour, European Tour, and PIF announced an agreement back on June 6th, a year ago, and set a deadline to finalize it by the end of 23. Well, that didn't happen. And the PGA Tour has since brought a strategic sports group in with a $1.5 billion investment, which could double in size, and the first equity ownership for players. So, PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan and the PIF governor and backbone of LIV played together in the Dunhill Links last month. So Monahan recently played golf with President-elect Donald J. Trump, who is close with that third party and who their golf courses were used by LIV in the first place. Now, of course, the hiring of O'Neill might soothe hard feelings towards Greg Norman by most PGA Tour players, and of course, Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy said the two years ago, before the PGA Tour and PIF announced a framework agreement, that Norman needed to leave before the sides could come together. So you see, the strategy has been going on for just a minute here. And of course, of the 10 events already announced, only 3 are in these United States of America. And the first one is 2 weeks after the U.S. Open in June. And then the last 2 are the same week as the PGA Tour's opening 2 FedEx Cup playoff events. So Scott O'Neill was the CEO of Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, the parent company of the Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils. During his 8 years, he oversaw construction projects and oversaw the merger of holdings between owners Josh Harris and David Blitzer. You know, Scott's one of those good guys. We really like Scott. We've had him, of course, on the program, but he's an easy guy to talk to. But he is a no BS, let's get it done, can do kind of guy. And we always want to applaud guys like Scott because it's guys like him that make stuff happen. And he's going to do very well for LIV. And honestly, I think eventually the PGA is going to benefit as well. All right. That big applause goes to Scott O'Neill and LIV for doing the right thing. Now, I will cover one other thing here in golf. I normally don't, but I'm going to today just because I can. And of course, NBC Sports says, goodbye, top 125. These players are thankful the FedEx Cup's top 100 cutoff is not yet in effect. So, Joel Damon is aware of the latest PGA Tour altercations coming down the pipe, and he just figured he had more time. And he asked a few reporters some questions, and barely keeping his full PGA card as the 124th ranked player in the FedEx Cup standings. Hey, listen, man, at least the guy's ranked 124th. I'm probably ranked 1.24 billionth in the league, if you know what I mean. No, I'm terrible. I'm a terrible golfer. I've never been any good, and that's okay. It is what it is. And of course, he says, do I get a year at 125 or do I go to 100 next year? So that's what he asked reporters. And of course, then Damon was then informed that in preparation for significant eligibility changes, yes, in 2026, the PGA Tour will reduce the number of members, right? That's kind of a key point in all of this. Going to reduce the number of members. And then there are full-time members. And then, of course, there are exempt memberships to just the top 100 next year. So he asked again, it goes to 100 next year, or we confirmed on that? Are we confirmed on that? Close quote. So as heads nodded, Damon then quipped, quote, this board stuff, I thought I had another year of freedom, close quote. Come on, man. Seriously. Joining Damon in the numbers 101 through 125 zone this year were notable, such as number 101, Ricky Fowler, number 108, Hojgaard, and number 109, Kuchar, and 125, Sam Ryder. But here's the full list. So we're not going to name them. So you go 101 through 125. So you have Fowler, Pan, Whaley, Kim, Lee, Messner, Sig, Hojgaard, Kuchar, Highsmith, Garnett, Kim, Bridgman, McCarthy, Silverman, Ramy, Lachey, Fox, Gutterup, Norlander, Smalley, Skins, Valimaki, Damon, and Ryder. And obviously, players such as Fowler's, McCarthy, and Gutterup have winners' exemptions to play off for the next season, so they're okay. Others like Damon would be reassigned to conditional membership had the top 100 cutoff been in effect this year. But, of course, 10 of the aforementioned players started the season out of the reorder category, of course, as either a DP World Tour or Korn Ferry Tour graduate, and only got up as a winner would have kept his card under the new rules. So Ryder is perhaps the most interesting case, as he is not only was the last player to keep his full card this year, but he also is now finished in the numbers 101 through 125 6 times in his career. And that is a record in the FedEx Cup era, ahead of Scott Stallings and Vaughn Taylor, who each have 5 seasons finishing that range. So, folks, the golf world is a little bit of a dicey world, and I can tell you, what I've seen in the golf world, just from a financial side, folks, this is all about money. And honestly, it has nothing to do with personalities. It's the old, what have you done for me lately? Now, everybody knows this in the workplace. Everybody who's listening to this show, doesn't matter where, or if you're watching it on television, everybody's streaming on Facebook, on Chicago Food Favorites. You're only hearing the audio clip of this. But at the end of the day, it always comes down to money, right? And if you're not one of those guys that are doing the tour good, you're not doing the organization good, and you're not, show me the money, then you're probably going to be out of a gig or whatnot, because that's typically what happens in today's time. Where is accountability? Where is integrity? Do we see these things? Where is loyalty? No, none of that seems to have a whole lot of influence in today's time because of TV contracts and this contract and that contract. So again, folks, all this is what? For entertainment purposes only. And this is how even the sports circus works from time to time. Anyway, folks, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes on the circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes, are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call
714-948-0100, 714-948-0100, again, 714-948-0100.
or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com. For the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, that's csncoyotes.com. All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our affiliates, CBS, NBC, Fox, and all of our independents. A big hello to our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Of course, welcoming everybody else up and down the West Coast on all of our independents and network affiliates throughout the Midwest, through the Heartland, as well as up the East Coast. Big hello to our friends in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, as well as Auburn, Alabama, War Eagle, our friends on WAUD, that's home of the Atlanta Braves as well. So that's good stuff, folks. Oh, and by the way, I want to send out a birthday wish to a guy by the name of Al Lager. And Al had a birthday recently, and of course, we want to acknowledge him as a member of Chicago Food Favorites. Folks, make sure you check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Kind of a fun group where you could participate, post your favorite recipes, your favorite restaurants, whatever it is. Have some fun with it. It's a fun group. A private group? No. It's a public group? Yes. On Chicago Food Favorites. And just make sure you remember, I'm your administrator, so don't post any spam because I will get rid of it in a second. Just like that, if you know what I mean. Anyway, folks, nice round of applause for Chicago Food Favorites. And thanks for streaming over there as well. Okay, so in the first segment, there was a lot of golf talk, which we don't typically do. It's normally the big four, the four major food groups of sports: football, baseball, basketball, hockey. But we did start out with golf, and we did start out with our friend Scott O'Neill. And again, a big congratulations for Scott O'Neill, basically replacing Greg Norman with LIV Golf. And, you know, Scott's, he's been on the show, and he's just a good guy. Of course, we always want to say it because he just keeps being it. One of those can-do guys. How about this? We think of that can-do. Do you think that this whole name, image, and likeness situation, where all these college, we'll call them athletes because they're not even really students, in my opinion, these athletes are getting money? Of course, they're essentially taking away their amateur status by becoming paid professionals. But what happens when the name, image, and likeness situation extends beyond the players and demands are made from those paying the money now on the universities or even the high schools? But let's stick with the universities here. How about this one? This is one of those ones that really makes you scratch your head. And this has been reported by everybody, including the Sports Circus. We covered this one too. How about the battle for the logo? Yeah. How name, image, and likeness money is changing the relationship between donors and universities. Of course, in an era where universities are asking donors for money to pay players, a group at Mississippi State University is asking for something in return. And that is to change the logo. What? Just when you thought you've heard it all. This is stupid. It's stupid. I mean, I do like the old logo, but come on, man. I mean, really, we're getting to a point where the whole thing, it's ridiculous. Nonetheless, they're all quick to acknowledge that among a list of the problems facing the world today, or even their favorite football teams, the fate of Mississippi State's old interlocking MSU logo doesn't rank particularly high. Is that really an issue here, folks? Is that really what we're talking about? How stupid is this? And this is when dumb becomes dumber. This is when there's a whole new level of stupid. Yet, there are Bulldog supporters locked in roughly, well, a 2-9 season heading into the Egg Bowl with Ole Miss. And guess what? They're going to become 2-10 as a nearly 4-touchdown underdog against the Rebels of Ole Miss. And of course, as such, they wistfully recall better times, such as the 1990s when the great Jackie Sherrill, now we've had Jackie on the show, we like Jackie, and they call him, of course, Coach Jackie, made them a regular in the top 25. And Sherrill's teams were the interlocking M, S, and U. They want the logo back. Come on. Do you really think that that's going to make a difference? That's going to change anything? No, it's not going to change anything. It goes back to the very top with the athletic director and then the assistant athletic director and then back to essentially the college football coach in this particular case and the coaching staff, the recruiting, the budget. Look, Mississippi State is an SEC school. They are one of the, well, they have the least, I would argue they have the least amount of money out of all of the SEC schools. So it puts them in a very tough position when it comes to recruiting. Now, Mississippi State, their football program is not particularly known for offense. And let's face it, even Dak Prescott, but you can call him Dakota, Dak Prescott came out of Mississippi State. It's a defensive program. And Jerry Jones was drinking the Kool-Aid, said, you know what? I'm going to drink that, and I'm going to go ahead and sign this guy. And how did that work out? How many Super Bowls does Jerry Jones have? How many appearances does he have? How many playoff appearances does Jerry Jones have with Dak Prescott? Oh, did you think Mike McCarthy was going to help that any? That would be, I don't think so. So ultimately, look, these schools, their recruiting budgets like Ohio State, those guys with $120 million. Look, Mississippi State doesn't have that. It's not going to change anything. Well, these people say, well, these NIL people, well, you know, we like the nostalgia of the interlocking the M, the S, and the U. So be it. You think that's going to change anything? Once you realize that's not going to change anything, you're going to say, well, okay, now we're going to have to fire the coach. And then we're going to have to fire the athletic director and all this other crap. So they've got this whole thing ass backwards because that's what they do. Thank you, Mississippi, if you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. Of course, this is college football, right? So they've gathered on message boards, created petitions, and raised noise about the interlocking logo being the NIL money people. Whether out of nostalgia, out of preference, out of their own ideas, branding, or well, just out of their mind. This is college football, folks. It doesn't have to make sense. No, it doesn't. Hey, Carol, what's going on? Thanks for watching on Chicago Food Favorites. Now, noted Bulldog supporter Brian Martin of Raleigh, Mississippi says, quote, fan is short for fanatic. Yes. Well, that's rather insightful of you. Oh, by the way, close quote. That's rather insightful of you, if you know what I mean. Anyway, in the past, no one inside an athletic department would pay much attention, especially since the group is made up of everyday fans, neither massive nor moneyed. An athletic director could hear the suggestions and complaints, and if they chose, they could just simply ignore it, just like in this particular case. Look, after all, go try and tell Jerry Jones that you think he should replace that silver star with something else, maybe a 10-gallon hat or some crap like that. It doesn't matter. You're the fan, I'm the owner. End of discussion. This is a new era in college athletics, though, and one in which schools are begging fans to not just renew their seats or even donate to a facility upgrade in certain universities and colleges, right? Some have more money. There are the haves and have-nots. I hate that statement, but that's a matter of fact. And you think about Ohio State and even Notre Dame. And, you know, they have all that money. It's amazing how they never end up on with recruiting violations and all this other crap. But no, that's because they're Ohio State and Notre Dame. They never seem to end up with any sanctions against them. And they have all kinds of money coming in from who knows where. Look at Notre Dame has their money coming from the Notre Dame Broadcasting Company, or NBC. That's right. A chorus of boos for those guys. It is what it is. That's the old haves, have-not thing. But anyway, think about this, that whole new era in college football, right? So here's the money. We want money, the university is saying, for season ticket holders, we want to pay for this, facility upgrades and whatnot. And let's face it, this is a state school in one of the poorest states of the union. Mississippi doesn't necessarily do well academically statewide when they are leading the nation in bad schools as far as the overall school system. They have the worst schools in America as far as all the facilities, the academics, and so forth and so on. So should they really be complaining so much about an interlocking logo return? Honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. Really. But let's continue on. Look, they are asked, being the public, contribute money to collectives. And the collectives, these, in my opinion, this is the biggest problem. We're going to take this one into the next segment. The reality is these collectives, they're kind of like unofficial unions, if you will. And what they do is they take money from organizations, if you will. They take their cut of what the student athletes, or we'll just call them athletes at this point, they take money for what they're getting, and they basically get their cut here, their cut there, their cut here. It's kind of like paying union dues, right? And what do unions do? Unions drive wages. And what do higher wages do? They drive the spending of dollar. But they also do what? Well, technically, they make things more expensive, right? So if Union X says, well, our labor costs are going to go up to $50 an hour, that means the goods and services, or better yet, the cost of production for the goods in this particular case rise as well, right? Which the consumers at the end of the day have to pay. So everybody gets an inflated, their dollars inflated. But then again, what ends up happening? Oh, that's right. The goods cost more money. So who wins? Nobody wins except the union. And that's how that stuff works. And so in this case, the NIL money, they deal with these collectives. And this is a big problem because these collectives are basically unofficial unions. And all they do is they take money off the top. So why should they keep paying these collectives? We're going to come back with this. A lot of people don't know about this name, image, and likeness stuff and how it affects things. And yeah, if Miss State wants to change their logo, so be it. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are available on all podcast platforms. Yet we don't do a podcast. Our full shows are stored there for everybody, and I know we have over 2,000 of them. It's a pretty big number. So if you have nothing better to do for the next 3 or 4 months, go ahead and play these around the clock, 24 hours a day, and you might get through all, I don't know, I think it's about 2,100 of them at this point. Some huge number. Anyway, folks, when you're at thesportscircus.com, make sure you check out all of our upcoming guests, our prior guests, those recorded shows that I mentioned, and also check out the store. Hey, Black Friday is right around the corner, and guess what? You can find all kinds of great Sports Circus gear under the store tab. Of course, a shameless plug for the Sports Circus. Lots of great knit hats, beanies, winter hats, jackets, hoodies, fleece coats, sweatpants, you name it. We've got it. Travel mugs, coffee mugs, all kinds of great stuff for this. Actually, it's for the masses, but all with the Sports Circus logo. Everything is made in the USA as well. So make sure, folks, you check that out at thesportscircus.com, the store. All right, a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, from all the way in Honolulu, all the way over to Atlanta, all the way up to Maine. Lots of places in between. Everybody else watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, and Time Warner Cable affiliates. Thanks for joining us, as well as Hotel TV in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast, and everybody on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Of course, a big shout out to one of our old favorites. And, you know, this guy, look, I used to bowl when I was a kid, and a guy by the name of Ray Hochel. Ray was one of those really good bowlers. Now, I bowled a 300 for the first time last year in all of these years, and that was pretty exciting. Ray was one of those guys when we were kids that, yeah, you never wanted to have to face his team because, man, he was one of the best lefties I've ever seen. Me, a lefty too, but man, this guy was good, really good. So we always give Ray, every time I see him, I think of bowling. I don't have a bowling sound effect here. I used to. But anyway, big ups to Ray Hochel and his abilities. And he makes great steaks and chops, too. Maybe we got to get him over to uppercutchops.com to pick out some of those because those are amazing. Anyway, all right, enough with the plugs. And let's get back to this story with the name, image, and likeness situation and Mississippi State University. So we talked about the idea that, look, some people want that interlocking MSU back like when Jackie Sherrill was coaching in the 1990s. And so you think about what's the significance. The significance of this really is just a matter of what the fans want, what the donors want. And yeah, the Bulldogs are 2-9, about to be 2-10. They're not going to win the Egg Bowl against Ole Miss. No way. And so the reality is there's a lot of noise about it, and I don't know why the Bulldog supporters are so, I don't know, they're so whatever. They're looking for an excuse. Oh, well, this is why we haven't been doing well. No. Recruiting, coaching, et cetera, and so forth. And, of course, recruiting budget. And of course, I mentioned in the last segment a couple of schools that have massive recruiting budgets that never seem to end up on the sanction list. That would be Ohio State and Notre Dame. But nonetheless, Mississippi, one of the poorest states in the union, the worst education system in the nation, well, they don't have a lot of resources. I mean, even Jerry Jones, you can't ask him to change his Silver Star. He's going to say, look, you can go you know where. But the reality is, this is the new era of college athletics, though, one in which schools are begging the fans to not just renew their seats or event donations, yet alone to donate monies to facility upgrades as well. And so they're asked to contribute money to these ridiculous collectives, which are basically, in my opinion, these are skimming organizations. I think they're a bunch of BS. They're unofficial unions, and they're, in my opinion, stealing money from the universities and the players. So the relationship feels different, that is. It's not that I don't know, I'm trying to put this in a better way. Look, the interlocking letters are one thing, and the fans feel a certain way about it. Think about this. Think about your favorite team, and then think about if there's a logo change from what you know. Now, I've seen this a bunch of times with my beloved, horrific White Sox. We've seen so many logo changes, and I'm glad that the White Sox are using their old ones from way back in the day, because we had the pigtail C on the hat. We had just Sox across it, which I really didn't like. Then we had the red old school ones back in the 1970s and so forth. So imagine if the New York Yankees changed that coveted logo. That would almost be one of those things that's unthinkable. Well, what if your team changed its logo? How would you feel about it? And so people say, well, the interlocking MSU logo was replaced in 2004 by what's called the banner M, and the banner M remains the institutional logo since a long attempt to brand the university, et cetera, and so forth, whatever. And of course, potential students and standouts from other MSUs, such as Michigan State or Missouri State, they're like, well, you know what? We want something a little bit different. Anyway, look. End of day, the state script logo, basically state written in cursive, has been used on the football helmets since 2023. Interlocking MSU, however, made an appearance at the special 25th anniversary game back in 1988, and well, that was when they reached the title gate. But that got a small group, passionate fans excited. And of course, Isaac Sparks, a 28-year-old of Matheson, Mississippi, says, quote, a lot of fans don't care about the logo. The ones that do overwhelmingly favor the interlocking MSU, though. Close quote. Who cares? The school isn't budging. You don't just switch up brand building plans on a whim. Although, said he would continue to listen in ways that we could showcase history in a purposeful way. That's the leader of the pack down there at Mississippi State over in Starkville. Now, regardless of the details of the outcome, they have an intriguing moment and tangible debate, and that's with the NIL era. So, does a fan get more of a say if, rather than donating a new locker room that might take years to complete, you now give a more active dollar that pays a quarterback? Okay, and what does that scream? Show me the money! That's what it screams. It takes these amateurs, it turns them into professionals, yet somehow they're allowed to say that they're amateurs, and the whole thing is a big steaming pile of BS. Now, Sparks said, quote, it's throwing a bone to the people you're asking to donate to NIL so you could buy the players. It's more expensive than ever to be a fan, close quote. That's right. And Salmon, who took over as the athletic director 18 months ago, met with Sparks for 45 minutes to discuss the issue, an opportunity Sparks greatly appreciated, and that alone was something that might not have occurred in the past. And Sparks said, quote, he didn't have to do that. He's been put in a tough spot, close quote. Listen, folks, all of this stuff, they're all in tough spots. I don't want to hear this crap. Whether it's Mississippi State and whatever. I mean, look, not some massive department like Ohio State or Notre Dame. Look, they all have big money. And Salmon says, quote, I came up on the fundraising side. So I've been about personal relationships and listening to people. I've always filtered that with how it aligns with long-term goals of the athletic departments and our values as a whole. Isaac has great passion for Mississippi State. His research was really good. I think we both left there thinking we're on the same team, close quote. Well, no, boop, Dick Tracy, we already know that. And look, there was a similar movement recently at the University of Arkansas, a group that fans yearned for the return of Slobber and Hog, right? The so-called Slobber and Hog. That's Pig Sweet. Anyway, Razorback logo that was used during the glory days of the basketball program under Eddie Sutton and Nolan Richardson, who led Arkansas to the 1993 title. So Arkansas Athletic Director Yurachek posed a challenge in October asking them to raise $500,000 in 24 hours for the school's NIL collective. Now, if they did, the money would be matched by a single donor. For that $1 million total, the Slobber and Hog would return to the center court of the Bud Walton Arena, and the money was drummed up with time to spare. Oh, yeah, Yurachek wrote on social media, when the goal was hit, center court logo was added in the morning it was promised. So if nothing else, perspective of fans, even smaller donors, has changed. Just getting a voice is important, and when they're asked to fork over more and more money. And Martin even said, quote, it makes you feel like you're truly involved in the university, close quote. No, it doesn't. It means, in my opinion, that you were basically, your feet were held to the fire. If you want something, you're going to pay for it. That's what this is all about. Where is the integrity from universities? Where is the accountability from the administrators? Where is the say-so from the taxpayers? For example, in Arkansas or in Mississippi or in California or Illinois or wherever you're listening. Remember, a lot of these schools are what? They are state universities. Mississippi State, in this case, obviously, the taxpayers kick into this. So people that live maybe in Gulfport or people that live in, I don't know, Tupelo, where Elvis is from. Guess what? You have to pay because somebody else is putting pressure. Now your taxes go up or your taxes go to something else because somebody wants a bleeping logo change. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Lots more to come. This is stupid.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, this segment brought to you in part by our friends over on Chicago's Little Italy, Taylor Street. That would be Al's #1 Italian beef at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Everybody on Chicago Food Favorites knows this place. And believe me, folks, it is good. They are the godfathers of the Italian beef sandwich. And if you don't know, if you're in other parts of the United States, listen, go to alsbeef.com. Read about the Italian beef sandwich and how it kicks the daylights out of the Philly cheesesteak garbage sandwich. Al's #1 Italian beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. If you're not in Chicago, you could pick up your supply of incredible sandwiches and all kinds of goodies from Al's #1 Italian beef. Just go to alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. Yes! That's good stuff. I can go for one of those right about now. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. You know who you are. Everybody streaming. Pick your favorite streaming platform. And also a big welcome in to everybody on Chicago Food Favorites as well. Make sure you like and follow and join the group and whatnot and participate in Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Of course, a shameless plug for a really cool food page. All right, shifting to baseball. Real quick before we just had the World Series not too long ago, and they're going to get their rings, of course, at the beginning of next season. How about this? How about Rudy Giuliani? He's got 4 New York Yankees World Series rings. 4. One from each title that, of course, the Yankees won when he was the mayor of the city of New York. And now he and his family are fighting to keep them. What? Oh, yeah. This is what happens. This is what happens. Unfortunately, Rudy Giuliani is currently facing a handful of legal challenges, including bankruptcy and a defamation case that he lost a year ago in federal court. So this guy apparently was ordered to pay $148 million to a pair of Georgia election workers who he claimed withheld evidence regarding the 2020 election. This guy's got to pay $74 million per person? Per worker? What kind of BS is that? That is unbelievable. How did somebody win a $74 million lawsuit times 2 or 148? How does a judge in good conscience actually dole out that kind of a punitive damage to anybody? I will never know that. And of course, the plaintiffs want his rings as part of the payment. Give me a damn break. How embarrassing for those people, and how embarrassing for that charade to even be allowed to happen. Anyway, speaking of embarrassing, how about embarrassing monies outside of those payoffs? How about Major League Baseball payout? It's a record $129 million. And the Dodgers get $477,441 each.
Show me the money!
That's crazy. Now, the World Series, of course, between the Yankees and Dodgers, as we just mentioned, the Yankees had a chance for another ring, and they failed miserably because they couldn't seem to field the ball. Nonetheless, that recorded a record postseason bonus pool of $129.1 million, according to the commissioner's office. The tally was 20% higher than the previous high of $107 million set a year ago. It was $107 in 2022 when the playoffs expanded their current format. So, of course, the world champions, Dodgers, split $46.47 million of the pool. They're awarded 79 full shares, 17.49 partial shares, and cash awards worth $405,000. A full share was worth $477,441, below the record of $516,347 in 2022 when the Astros had 59 full shares. And, of course, a share for the 2024 Yankees was $354,572 based on 71 full shares and 16.38 partial shares. So the 2024 playoffs were almost certain to produce a record payout for players based on the formula and big market teams in the Fall Classic. So the bonus pool is comprised of 60% of the gate receipts from the minimum number of games in each series, 2 games in the wild card, 3 in the division series, and 4 each in the league championship series and World Series. So the World Series winner gets 36% of the pool, while the runners-up receives 24%. The 2 LCS losers split 24%. The 4 teams that lost in division series distribute 13%, and the 4 wildcard losers divide 3%. Teams can allocate their share of the bonus pool however they want to. So baseball championship payout slots in behind the NBA on a per-player basis. NBA payoffs last year, $33.7 million last year, with each Celtic player earning $800,000 after winning the title. The Kansas City Chiefs players made $338,000 for their Super Bowl. In the NHL, the playoff pool was $22 million, and $6.5 million, or roughly $240,000, went to each Florida Panther player or member. So full shares of the 24 Major League Baseball were 182,663. Cleveland Guardians, 179,000. New York Mets, 55,000. Tigers, 52,000. Phillies, 49,000. Royals, 45,000. Padres, 11,000. Orioles, 10,000. Astros, 10,000. Brewers and Braves, 9,548. And the payouts don't move the needle much for the sports team earners, with the top 15 making roughly $650 million combined this year from salaries and endorsements, but it's a boost for larger numbers of players earning the minimum major league salary, which is $740,000 in 2024. Imagine your base pay, $740,000.
Show me the money!
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. But look at the extra payouts. And so for those not knowing how this kind of works, now you have some kind of an idea that there is a split from this bonus pool. So maybe you learned something today, and maybe I did too. How do you like them apples? Nice round of applause there. Speaking of big payouts, how about the Dodgers? Man, they just keep going to the kitty. Now it's Blake Snell reportedly agrees to a 5-year deal, $182 million. And that looks like, well, let's see, 30, 38, 40, I don't know, that's about $37 million a year, something to that effect. It's a crazy number. Crazy number. And of course, the Dodgers, with all these ridiculous contracts already, you wonder, how much in luxury tax are they willing to pay? And what is a World Series worth to them? So Blake Snell, his first foray into Major League Baseball's free agency was an absolute disaster. And you're probably happier how the second go-around worked. And of course, and this is according to everybody, this one, the 4-letter network even said, the 2-time Cy Young Award winner agreed to a 5-year, $182 contract with the Dodgers, in fact, just yesterday. And Snell didn't have a qualifying offer this year after rejecting one last season. So his signing will not cost the Dodgers a draft pick. How do you like that? So the deal comes after an up-and-down season with the San Francisco Giants, but one that definitely ended with momentum on Snell's side. And he was ranked number 6 on a list of this winter's top 50 free agents. So last season, he threw only 104 innings, 3.12 ERA, 1.05 WHIP, which is walks and hits per innings pitched, 145 strikeouts, 44 walks. So here's a heavy dose of reality, folks. Imagine this. Blake Snell had really good numbers out of 104 innings pitched. Let's take the Rookie of the Year, and he probably would have won the Cy Young Award had he had as many games pitched as Chris Sale. That would be Paul Skeens. His ERA a sparkling 1.93 with, I think, 177 strikeouts, less walks, if I'm not mistaken. And his innings pitched were, I think, about 177. I forget. Anyway, my point is, if Blake Snell is getting upwards toward $37, $38 million per season, luckily the Pittsburgh Pirates have a rookie deal with Paul Skeens. And folks, if you're a baseball card collector, I would really recommend picking up 1, 2, 10, or 100 Paul Skeens rookie cards. This guy is a generational pitcher. And the only guy that would compare at that level that I could think of off the top of my head is a guy by the name of Greg Maddux, arguably the best pitcher in the last 50 years. That's the kind of stuff that Paul Skeens has. And he throws 100 miles an hour throughout the game. Not that that really matters, but the guy's got mad movement. Now, Blake Snell, back to him. He is a very good pitcher. The big question that I have is that, look, this guy only threw 104 innings. Is he durable? This has been the knock on Blake Snell, in my opinion. Is he durable? Can he last more than 5 innings into a game? And we see the same problem with Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw is really good, but Clayton doesn't throw complete games. As a matter of fact, Clayton Kershaw, if I'm not mistaken, pitches on average about 5.2 innings per start, generally speaking. Blake Snell is essentially the same guy. His numbers are good across the board. I mean, ERA solid at 3.12, whip at 105. A lot of strikeouts, basically averaging almost 1.5 strikeouts, 1.5 strikeouts per inning pitched, just under that. And he is walking essentially one hitter every 2.5 innings. So he's certainly keeping his team in the game. But at the start of July, his ERA was 9.51 through 6 starts. He had missed significant time due to trips on the injured list, which I had just mentioned. And then he tends to do, as he does, he got better. And he gets better in the second half of the season. After returning from the injured list on July 9th, he posted a 1.23 ERA across his final 14 starts with 114 strikeouts and 80 1/3. Batters only hit 123. They slashed 123, 211, 171 against him. That's really, really good. However, what about the first half of the season? And this is, are the Dodgers going to get their bang for the buck out of this guy? I don't know. But thanks to that run, Snell entered the offseason as one of the top free agents and ranked number 6 on a big list. So he joins a super rotation as it stands. So not only found a dead deal, look, this guy is joining a rotation that includes Yamamoto, Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, and Clayton Kershaw. Those guys are pretty good. Now the question is Ohtani going to be healthy? 2 Tommy Johns? I don't know. Torn labrum? I don't know. Is Clayton Kershaw going to be healthy? I don't know. Is Glasnow going to be dependable? Probably. Yamamoto, will he be dependable? Probably. And look, outside of that, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, and Emmett Sheehan are also expected to return from their injuries in 2024. So Dodgers are going to have some pretty good pitching here. But the question is, how much more money are they going to spend? We don't know, folks. That's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you in about 23 hours on your favorite station right here. Until then, so long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.